Hello everyone! Remember back when I did that 4th of July speed build and I teased the idea of doing an entire row of holiday houses? Well, today I'm finally starting on that. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know I did, but first, let's talk about the build, because you know me, if we don't start talking about the build, we're not going to remember to talk about it later. This is a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house with 2 floors and a basement, and it took me roughly 8 hours, give or take. I don't actually know exactly how long it took because what we will get into today, I am cursed when it comes to recording videos lately, because everything that can go wrong, I've gone wrong, including a large chunk of this video getting corrupted, and then also the power going out multiple times, and I had to start over. And I don't know, how much time that took. And then also, something I do is I pause whenever I either save or I'm not sure what I want to do next. So, as I was saving, I paused, and I could not, when I unpaused it to continue building when I was done, I realized that it was never unpaused, it was still paused the entire time, and I could not tell until it was too late. So it took me over 8 hours. I don't know exactly how long. I only have a video from the 7 hours and 42 minutes, so we know it takes longer than that, but how much longer, we don't know. Also with the garage too, I've built dozens of garages that are attached to a house on foundation. For whatever reason, this one was giving me so much trouble. I honestly couldn't figure out what that little bump was or how to get rid of it. So I just enclosed it in a little wall, and we're going to pretend that is a load-bearing support beam and that it has to be there. And I wasn't able to color it either, which is why I chose to make that part the brown wood color instead of a black void, so I just completely hide it. And I also had a lot of trouble with the roof, which you will soon see. And I also started a lot more of a complex build. I was going for a rental lodge at first, and right as I started, I was like, okay, I realize now that this is going to take me days upon days upon days to get done, so I had to scrap that idea. And then I did a different one, and as I finished that one, I realized that the video was not recording that one either, so I had to start over again. This is supposed to be a simple 20-minute in and out thing. I spent all day working on this. And then, funny enough, as I was recording the narration for this, 2 things happened. I had the house to myself, because my aunt was away and Max and his boyfriend were away. Had the house all to myself. I pressed record, and then I hear both of their horns wailing in the driveway. They come in, they're fighting, the neighbor's yelling. I have no idea what happened. And then things finally calm down. I go to record again. I recorded the entire video, only to realize that for some unknown purpose or unknown reason, my microphone just stopped being picked up 20 seconds in. So now we're recording the audio again. Yay! Boy, but honestly, comparatively to the roof problem with this, I'll deal with that. Sims 2, and all of the Sims in general really, have a weird limitation with the roofs not being able to have rooms inside of them, and there are lots of houses that have rooms inside of the roofs. Oftentimes the ceiling is just a little bit lower in those types of houses, but particularly The Sims 2 really doesn't like it when you make the rooms inside the roofs, because the roof goes crazy, it looks weird, or in The Sims 4, the roof might look fine, but the room is not usable underneath because it'll say ceiling level too low. This one, I think I did a really good job at working around that with that limitation in mind, because the rooms you can access are all perfectly fine. It's only really the rooms that you can't access that are inaccessible, but you can always use those for like storage space for like the family's attic. And I did make sure to have a lot of storage in this house. Like there's multiple closets just because there is a basement, there's the attic space of course, and then there's the roof space as well. And something I also added was a space for a furnace and a hot water heater. And it's on the second floor in that little room that's like tiled that just has nothing in it. So if you want, and if you have custom content installed, you can put the custom content water heater in the furnace in that little room. If not, you can turn it into a bathroom or a closet. It makes no difference to me. And use it for however you would like. Initially, I had this house having lots of whites, grays, and blacks, but I realized those aren't very autumnal colors, so near the end I changed those out for some earthy browns, some nice warm tans, and some fun red colors in the brickwork, and I also do some dark muted green with the roof as well. And the interior is a lot of that as well, some colors like reds, browns, oranges, and when I get to the interior as well, I do start to incorporate accents of Christmas stuff, but I don't go crazy. When I do my Christmas builds, you're going to see me go crazy, because Christmas is kind of my thing. But the reason I think that it's important to include Christmas things in a Thanksgiving build is because most people view Thanksgiving as time to prepare for Christmas. Something else that I was conflicted about was the gazebo, and I really wanted to do a gazebo in the back of the house, but the place I wanted to put it was directly across the 4th of July house's gazebo, and I do fully intend to next year make a Halloween haunted house to go between this house and the 4th of July house. But I realized that if I did a gazebo in this house, then almost every single house I do would have a gazebo except for the Valentine's one, New Year's one, and the Halloween one, because I have every intention of doing this gazebo for the winter house as well. I'll try not to, but no promises. But yeah, I wanted to spice this up, so instead of that, and instead of a pool, because I know a lot of people was like, why didn't you do a pool? I know people are going to be commenting that. I know that houses don't exist outside of like holidays, but I wanted the space to be utilized more for outdoor activity like sports and games and things. And I put a doghouse there as well. You can play fetch with the family dog and have lots of room for that. And yeah, we didn't really get to go outside and play football this year because it was just the weather was just too unpleasant, too cold, too frigid for that. I've hidden a little football in this house though, see if anyone can comment the timestamp if they find it. But yeah, I think it came out really nice even with all these shortcomings. I was especially proud of the garage because in the 4th of July one, my last one, I was not able to make a functioning garage, but I did do a garage band. This time I was able to, for the first time ever, have a functional garage with room for a garage band in there as well. And I was able to cram a bed in there for the guests who are staying over, because like there is room for a lot of guests to stay over at this house. Lots and lots of room. Originally, I had 2 plans for this before this one, to do a lodge where my family had gone on vacation and my old family's ranch. And the reason that I didn't do either of them is because I realized that there was no universe in which I could really knock those out in just a little bit of time. Those are going to be huge undertakings that would probably take me at least a week straight of like, not necessarily a week straight, but like at least a week, because after so long of doing this, you get really burnt out, so like you need to take breaks, and given how many issues I had last time with taking breaks, I don't really want to dive into that right now. I also really wanted to try and keep the house relatively small, because not everyone goes to like a ranch or a lodge that's like specifically perfectly made for large gatherings. Some people have to work with what they got, and so with this one, I wanted to use I was going for like a childhood home kind of vibe, where the parents still live there. They kept the children's room the same as it has been, and they just made the guest room work over time, and they made arrangements for other people to have, like, I put a bed in the garage. I don't know if I said that already. Put a bed in the garage, just a makeshift bedroom downstairs that doubles as in the basement that kind of doubles as a gym. And I have one room that has 2 beds in it, and it's kind of awkward because it's like a double bed and a single bed. But my imagination for that is that was originally the 2 daughters' rooms, and they had they kept the kids' bed and they just added another bed there. Another way you could look at it too is like maybe they had a daughter and a son, and they had their own rooms and not necessarily a guest room. And then both the kids can bring their spouses. The one has the single bed for their child. There's no reason that you couldn't fit a crib in one of the other bedrooms as well. Like, you just swap out one of the other pieces of furniture, because I think I put a desk in one and a vanity in the other. You could just swap out one of the 2 and have room for a crib there. I did actually put a high chair in here, but I forgot the crib. I put the crib in the attic space, like the storage area. I guess theoretically you could put the baby in the attic closet, but that's getting to like Harry Potter vibes, almost, where the child is under the staircase. Honestly, that'd be kind of fun to do. I like, go for it. Put the baby in the closet. That'd be pretty funny. There's also, like I said, there's the guest rooms. Like, if you wanted to make, like the grandmother's sibling and their spouse, and maybe the cousins of the main character, like the parents, siblings, children, and their children, they can come. This house, while it's only 5 bedrooms, is capable of accommodating 12 Sims, because I even put a tent in the backyard, and someone can sleep on the couch. And I know the limitation for how many Sims you can have in one family without mods is 8, but you can still have this many people come if you have them stay the night, because how many times are you playing The Sims and you'll get like a text notification that pops up that says something along the lines of, "You invited me over to spend the night, but you wouldn't let me get any sleep." Well, now they can actually sleep in a bed, and they don't have, that happens, I think, because there's not a bed space for them, or you just keep them up all night. So this is great for that too. Sleepover parties, holiday occasions, gatherings. This house is perfect for that. I didn't do a pool, and I feel like I might get some people that are conflicted about that. It's like, why didn't you do a pool? There's a huge yard. And I intentionally left a large portion of the yard empty, so you have room to play games. There's like a dog house that you can play fetch with the dog. You can play games with each other and your Sims. There's room if you want to add a pool. Of course, you can add a pool if you want. And I almost added a hot tub at one point, but I didn't do that either, because I just thought, not every house has to have a hot tub. I go back and forth on how I wanted to do the kitchen. I thought at first about having it be open concept, then I thought I didn't want it to be open concept, then I thought I wanted it to be like somewhat open concept, so I kind of went down that path of having it be like a little bit open concept, but not all the way. I really like these Chinese-inspired doors. I think they look really nice for taking up both of the spaces because like that's 2 tiles for the hallway area. I wasn't crazy about the middle section of that hallway not having a window, but that was just the way it had to go, because I couldn't put dormers on the side of this house without it really getting crazy with the roof situation. And I don't think it's like terribly weird or noticeable, but if you want, you could put dormers and figure that out. I just didn't feel like it. The bathroom situation is also a little bit strange, because like there's only 1 bedroom on the first floor, the master bedroom, and I give them a really nice closet here. Like, they have a walk-in closet with a really nice mirror, lots of storage. They even have like a jewelry counter, and this bedroom has a bathroom. It's an ensuite, so of course the master would have that. But then also I did a downstairs bathroom that wasn't the bathroom, the downstairs bathroom that wasn't connected to the master bedroom. And I kind of regret doing that. I should have put the bathroom upstairs. I should have put another bathroom upstairs, like where the little closet areas, and made that like the utility room with the custom content water heater and the custom content furnace. Switch them around, but I did not. You can switch them if you want, but the utility room is a little bit smaller than I would like for a bathroom. It's just an empty room right now. You could easily convert that into a closet as well if you felt like it, or a half bathroom if you don't use CC. I also realized that I've been saying base game when I mean to be saying CC free, custom content free. So from this point forward, when I say custom base game, I'm going to try to actually mean base game, and when I mean CC free, I will say CC free. Just know that in the past, when I said base game, I meant CC free. And most of my builds I could easily convert them to CC or base game, and I think I might actually have a couple that are base game too. But I can definitely make some base game builds if you guys are so inclined to let me know. I really don't feel like there's a point to do base game specifically for The Sims 2, because one, you can get the Ultimate Collection, because you get the Ultimate Collection for free, because that's considered abandonware, even on Mac now, because they made the Legacy Collection and it replaced the Ultimate Collection, and the difference is that the Ultimate Collection has IKEA stuff and the Legacy Collection does not have IKEA, because it's something to do with licensing and whatnot. So you can pay for the Legacy. I don't know why everyone would pay for the Legacy Collection when you can get the Ultimate Collection for free, but I guess maybe if you don't want to have to go through the hassle of using an emulator or anything like that, or downloading it, it's just easier to get it from Steam. And the EA app as well, it's easier to do that. I'm over here and I'm stupid enough that I have purchased almost every single one of the Sims 2 and Sims 3 games and packs and stuff packs, because I had them before you could get them for free, and I was really stupid about that. And the irony is they don't even work anymore because of modern hardware and stuff. Like, it thinks that the anti-piracy software in the disk is a virus on my computer. I won't even run the disks anymore, which is just so ironic. I also really like the way I textured the grass in the back. Oh, here's where I paused it, and I think it skipped a huge chunk that I was just doing texture and shading and stuff. You didn't miss much. I included some garden plots on the side of the house for you to grow some produce that you can harvest in time for Thanksgiving. And I've decided that colonial house in the back is going to be my New Year house. So I'm just going to decorate that one, and I might do that during a live stream. Because decorating doesn't take nearly as long as the actual building and coming up with the layout. Or I might, and I say I might because I don't know if she's going to be into this, but my sister C has offered to help me with the actual making of this custom hood, so I might let her decorate the inside of that house and not even have a video for it, and just have it be as like a bonus download in the 4th of July one, or my Christmas one perhaps. But yeah, I learned a fun fact about Canada today from my friend who's in Canada. Apparently they celebrate Thanksgiving a whole month earlier than we do. Like, they celebrate Thanksgiving too, but it's like a different version of Thanksgiving than our Thanksgiving. Like, ours is more about celebration and shopping and food, and theirs is more of like a somber type thing. And the reason they celebrate it early is because in Canada, the harvest is earlier. So that's why I didn't really do a greenhouse, because if you have a greenhouse, you can have your harvest whenever you want it, pretty much. But I wanted the harvest to coincide with the actual Thanksgiving, so it's a very small garden, because, it's just going to snow over. But anyway, I really enjoyed my Thanksgiving this year. I think that in the past, one of the largest factors that contributed to the madness and the chaos and the drama was obviously my mother, but then on top of that, even after she wrought her innocent act, is that there was always my wicked stepsisters around to sort of incite something, and then they had their mother would come in even when they were being chill, and then their mother would cause problems. Well, this year we had it at Olive's house, my cousin Olive's house, and she lives in a gated community, and there's like a giant fence that goes all the way around the whole perimeter of our neighborhood. All the houses in that area are like in one big fence, and there's only 2 ways in and out: the front gate and the back gate. And in front of the gates are these little tiny houses, like a one-room house that has windows on all sides, almost like a booth. And there is a man that sits inside there who controls the opening and closing mechanism of the gate unless you have a passcode. So Olive had gotten the make and model and color of all of our cars. She asked us what cars we were going to be driving, and she then took our names and put them on a list with the details about our cars, and she handed them to the man at the gate, and she's like, "These are my guests, let them all in." And then she had another list of the make and model of Bubba Helga's car and my wicked stepsister's car. And she said, under no circumstances are these people to be let in. And so they actually tried to crash the party, and they were turned away at the gate, which was amazing because she had a freak out and was like crashing out afterwards. Like, she showed up at my sister's house and she was going crazy because she was mad that we didn't let her participate. But you know what? We had tried for so long to include her in the family, and let's just say there was a reason her ex-husband is her ex-husband and not her current husband. Olive was really on top of like everything. Like, the food was fantastic. Some people didn't bring the food that they were supposed to do. We do it like potluck style, sort of, where everyone makes one thing. And so a lot of people were bringing pumpkin pie, and we didn't have any like rhubarb pie or apple pie or cake, and there weren't that many cookies because like all the people that were like doing desserts, they were just like they were like locked into apple pie. And the funny thing is, like, there's still like there wasn't like a lot of leftovers either. There wasn't much, like, I think the only leftovers I got to take home were some rolls, like a couple of rolls, and a little bit of stuffing because everyone knows that I love the stuffing a lot. And that was it. Like, everything else was gone. Basically, well, there were some yams left, and there was some sweet potato casserole and a little bit of green beans and a little bit of corn, but that was really it. And but the food was all amazing. Like, that's why it went so fast, because it was so good. And then something that I really appreciated is that Olive was really in my corner, and so was my aunt, and Stella too, for that matter. So before, Stella, Olive, my mom, and my aunt would all like rally everyone against me, but because of the things that have happened last Christmas, I don't know if I talked about that, I don't want to talk about it again if I hadn't. Basically, my mother did something really, really unforgivable to me, and I really drew a line in the sand. It's like, I'm not gonna have anything to do with you people if you're gonna be oblivious. And they're like, oh, no, we see it now. You were right. We're so sorry. We didn't believe you. We could see clearly what has happened now. So this year, anytime my mother tried to start something up, Olive would shut it down instantly. My aunt would shut it down instantly. My sister would. And in the past, people always had this like sort of ideology of like, oh, well, she's your mother. You only have one mother. You have to respect and honor thy mother. It's in the Bible. And people would also be like, oh, well, Stella had a really great childhood. And so, like, all of your misfortunes are just you making it up because, like, Stella had such a great time. But, like, while it was good for Stella, it was not good for me and Sam. I think people still don't fully understand how mental illnesses and addiction play into scenarios like this either. Like Oprah had recently had a full episode that was on her YouTube channel where she was going fully into depth of people who were going no contact with their family members, and it seemed like they were like repeatedly dancing around the root of why these things happened. Like, to me, it sounded like I was picking up from my own personal experiences how a lot of it probably had to do with someone involved being a narcissist or some sort of drug and alcohol dependency. And that really plays a big factor, especially when the person doesn't want to have any accountability for how things might have transpired. Because with my mother, I don't really want to go into detail with the things that happened in my childhood, but my mother has a very different, the way she says things is very different than how I see that they happened, and she doesn't even want to discuss the discrepancies because she doesn't want to have any accountability that maybe, just maybe, she had made a mistake. It's really been becoming a problem that I've noticed lately, and for a while now, people have been requesting to me that I should make like a top 10 video talking about the most toxic communities that I've been a part of, and I haven't really done that because I don't like to like post negativity on my channel, but I do think that awareness is important with this issue, and while most of the communities that I have been a part of that were toxic have been online communities. The only really exceptions to that have been the furry community, the crossbreed community, and even like the gothic lady community. But all of them exist within Second Life, which is an online community, and I will say that probably the more problematic issues arise when social media or any form of like online connectivity is involved, because I know a lot of goth people in real life, and they're like a real cool bunch, and furries too. Like, I don't know if I've ever really said this, but I used to go to furry conventions and stuff, and there used to be like a completely different vibe. I know now it's a little bit different, like post-COVID and all that. And I'm not a moron. I know that all three of the communities that I just listed had problems with fetishization. There's always been sexual undertones with that, but for the most part, they were really cool. There didn't used to be like poppy furs and elite furs and like this like sort of like clout chasing. I hate saying that, but like that's what it is, where people only want to associate with people who are above them, and they get these attitudes like, oh, well, I have all these subscribers now, so I wouldn't go to just any old party. I'm not going to your party because I'm famous now. And it's a really disgusting attitude to have, and I feel like it's encroaching upon all the communities that I've been a part of. Second Life, like with the people that are in that, and even like the people in the KI's extra credit program. Like, I think a lot of them think that way too, or even if they don't think that way, like there are people who are in that community who think that way in general, like the Wizarding community, and it's really sad because I think the root problem of all of this is lack of accountability and people who have too high expectations. Like, nowadays, a lot of people are trying to make YouTube their full-time job, and there's nothing wrong with that if it works for you, but people are really, really trying to force it in a way that becomes problematic and controversial. Like, they almost act as if the world has to revolve around them, and that's sort of what was the issue with my mother, is that we lived to serve her. We didn't live because she wanted us to have life, and so she didn't want to be alone. We lived specifically to serve a purpose for her, and that's the thing that I have a problem with, is when people try to paint it out like, well, if I have YouTube and I have a lot of followers, then that entitles me to certain luxuries and to be an asshole, and it really doesn't. Or if I have like an authority level too, that's another thing, because I've noticed recently that a lot of people who are in positions of power almost always abuse that power. Point in case, Infinity Nikki, Royal High, Dress to Impress. All of those have the same thing in common, and that's that the developers are terrible, horrible people that only care about the bottom line, profit, not the people playing the games. And usually that happens with everything on these spaces where people have an agenda and they only care about that thing. They don't care about people, they only care about themselves and what they want. And I think that people forget that it's possible to have a symbiotic relationship where everyone can benefit, because it's been so long since we've seen anyone who's done these things take any retribution for their action. And I think a lot of times too, people wouldn't mind giving someone a second chance, a third chance even, maybe more than that, if they were going to try to improve themselves going forward in the future. Like, recently I was thinking a lot about one of my ex-boyfriends, and I've said this before, like, he was a hopeless alcoholic, he was addicted to multiple different types of hardcore drugs, he was really abusive to me as well, and when we broke up, it was for the best at that time. And later, much later, like I want to say 3 years later, my sister C had brought him back into my life after we had been broken up, and it was like oil and water. We started fighting because he wasn't at a place to really, he wasn't ready to be different. He wasn't ready to improve himself. And so we got into a really nasty fight, and I honestly said some things that I regret saying in the heat of the moment, but he kind of had it coming with all the stuff that he's put me through. And so a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was a little more than that, I was thinking about him a lot. I was like, I really should reach out to him and like apologize, because, I know we didn't really have the best history, but I don't like that I conducted myself in a certain way the last time we spoke. And before I had the opportunity, because he actually had me blocked, so I wasn't able to yet, he unblocked me, sent me a friend request, and apologized to me, saying he was so sorry for all the things that he did to me and all the things that he said back then, how everything happened back when he was in his addiction. And I was so shocked. I immediately texted my sister, saying, like, did you tell Scene that I was thinking about him? Or like, did you tell Scene to text me or something? And she's like, no, why? I haven't even heard from him in years. I'm like, oh my god, he texted me apologizing for everything that happened. I was so in shock, because I never in a million years imagined that he would ever be able to realize that, he had a lot of problems back then with like the drugs and alcohol. And I had a rule it was actually a rule I enforced after breaking up with him, that I would not entertain the idea of people in my lives with drug and alcohol addictions, because they're not themselves. They can't control themselves when they're in their addiction, and until they're ready to admit they have a problem and seek out help, there's really nothing you can do for them, and they're not a good person to be around. But yeah, we're talking now, and like everything, he apologized, I apologized, and everything's been like really nice with us for once. Like, we're actually getting along pretty good, and he's going to be coming to this year's Christmas festival. Last time was like a horrible train wreck, where I think that was actually the catalyst that really was the final straw, because he got so blackout drunk and was stoned out of his mind at the festival, and he made a big scene in the staff chat. It's like, this is really unacceptable behavior at this point. It's like, you're almost 30, get it together, man. But he actually did, he got it together, and well, he's just really sad now, because his life is honestly kind of not going in the direction that he would like it, and I don't think that I would like it either. He's taking a lot of steps to improve everything, and I find that really commendable, and I don't think a lot of people have the courageousness to be the one to apologize for something like that. Most people can't do that, and it drives me crazy, because like, how hard is it to be like, oh, I'm sorry for how this happened. That's not the way I would like to operate. Let's try to reconcile our differences and come up with a new plan going forward. But like, no one ever does that. It's like the most bizarre thing. With me and Scene, we had chemistry as friends before we started dating. That's why we started dating. And it seems foolish to me to throw away a relationship that can be easily salvaged if you just take the time to talk to people. And I think a lot of times when people go no contact, they don't even bother to tell the person why they're going no contact, and so they can't even reflect on why that is. I recently saw a story online about these parents who basically disowned their child, and their son, years later after they tried to reconnect with him, pretended not to know who they were because of how insignificant a part they played in his life. And on the one hand, that's like a really good burn, but I think it would have been more impactful to actually tell them why you don't want anything to do with them. Although I will say, not remembering who somebody is pretty damaging to their mental state as well. There was an article written, and if I can find it again, I'll link it in the description, about how being ignored hurts so much more than if someone was just mean to you, and I definitely see that. In a way, it could be seen as an act of vengeance, but on the other hand, when you do it too much, you're going to end up isolating yourself from all the people who would have traditionally cared about you. Not only that, but a lot of people are so oblivious and so dense that they won't see it as something that they did to push you away. They'll just see it as a you problem, that, oh, that crazy bitch, she left and she didn't say a word, so, like, I'm not going to waste energy or sleep on that. Why would I? I'll care about the people who are actually in my life. So it's definitely, I think it's important, at least before you go no contact, to tell people why something they did hurt you, so that they can at least reflect on that, and maybe they'll take action to become a better person. They won't always. There will be a lot of times where they won't, but you won't even have the opportunity to find out if you don't tell them your reasoning for why you're going no contact. Because maybe, like, several years down the road, you could open up the lines of communication again when you see that they're changing. That's how I was able to do it with Scene, and I don't regret that because things are great now. And you're not always going to be able to do that either, so, like, I'm not looking at the world through rose-tinted glasses, because obviously I have nothing to do with my own parents. I'm just so glad that finally people aren't trying to, like, push me to, like, just forgive my mom, even though she's not even sorry for the way things happened. And they're actually in my corner for, like, once in my life. I really wish that would have happened a lot sooner, but it took them needing to actually see what happened and see how things happened for them to believe it. And a lot of times, with narcissists, they're very good at keeping that persona of, like, the sweet and innocent, oh, they're the crazy one, not me. So I don't fault them for that, but it was a huge factor in why in previous years I hadn't really been enjoying my Thanksgivings all that much. Because, my mother was going to be there, and they were all going to side with her and not me, because I'm the crazy one, and she had them all completely fooled. But now that's not the case, and everything's great now. There's this YouTuber who talks a lot about narcissists, and I will link her channel in the description below. And one of the things that she says is how there's no mutual friends with narcissists. And I 100% believe this, because there are two very different stories that are always being presented. Yours and the narcissist, and the other people that there's just no way that they can't choose a side because of how drastically different the two stories are, and usually both stories are very defamatory towards the other person. So the people who stay, they don't really care about you. They're just an enabler for the narcissist. And I see this so often online with, like, influencers. Like, there'll be really toxic influencers, and they're clearly, like, narcissistic, at least a little bit. Like, they act narcissistic sometimes, and people will stay in their court basically just because it's convenient to do so, and they either don't believe the allegations against them, or, like in my case, my family didn't believe that my mother was the way that I had always said that she was, or they don't care because there are a lot of perks to just shutting up and playing nice with that person. And in my opinion, there are things that matter a lot more than, like the notoriety of being friends with an influencer, like your integrity. And I would never compromise on that. Of course, a lot of people are afraid to speak out on things like that too, because they're worried about backlash and they're going to lose their friends. And I hate to say this, but sometimes you will lose friends, but it's probably for the better, because the people that are stuck in that circle in the past, they're honestly just going to hold you back. Whereas if you let go of people who were once close to you, but now they're in your way, it clears the path for people who are not going to be in your way and people who will support you up to come forward and be in your life. And I've always found that to be true. I am very thankful and grateful for the relationships that I have now and that I will hope to have many years to come, and I'm sure that you will have those types of relationships as well if you just try to see the best in people and think positively. On that note, I think this is as good a time as any to let you know that our Discord is going to be doing some fun holiday giveaways. So if you would like to participate in those, you can join with the invite link in the description box below. You can make a lot of friends there as well. Our big party's coming up. Everyone always has a great time at that. And there's a lot more information provided on the announcement channel as well as on the community post that I made. So be sure to check that out. Additionally, like I said before, if you would like to help me with making this custom hood, you can DM me over there and we can talk about plans and stuff, because this is an incredibly huge undertaking to actually present a fully realized neighborhood. So like, you can help me by making the Sims, making custom builds that I could feature, and yeah, let me know if you would like to help with that. I hope you like the house. I'm just going to let the music take over now. So if you want, you can comment what you're thankful for this year, and I shall see you through the screen. Ta-ta!
Thank you.